All right. We're going to get some kids joining us in a moment here. Welcome to the recording of the Watercolor Beetles. All right, here's some kids joining us. Good morning. Welcome.
Oh, we see her.
Yeah, hi. Is that different? Was Karen not on the screen before? Good morning, everyone. Good morning, campers. Welcome to day 3 of Nature Week Camp. I guess I should change my name. My name is not accurate. Let's put my real name on here. My name is Chris.
Yeah,
The past 2 days you had Karen. And Karen taught you guys how to do rocks, right? And then she also did the elephant drawing.
Your name?
Yeah.
You guys have fun? You guys have fun the last 2 days? Maybe. All right, well, we are going to be painting with watercolors today. So get out your watercolors, your brushes. I will
Do we have a water cup?
show you all the supplies before we actually get started. So we can go over the supplies in a moment once we get everyone logged in here. Now we are recording this event. Maybe Karen did that yesterday as well. So that if anyone maybe misses today, they can watch the recording. So just something to keep in mind. And I do welcome you to ask questions along the way. If you need to ask a question, like with your voice, verbally, you can put your microphone on. Otherwise, we'll mostly have the microphones off, just so that everyone can hear me clearly. But you can also type a question to me at any point. So if you find the chat, that's kind of the bottom of the laptop screen is where the chat is. You could just type me a question and I'll answer the question right away. Okay, so we've got a good amount of people joining us. Excellent. How's everyone's mornings? Did you have a healthy breakfast? I see some thumbs up. Very good. I had yogurt. So maybe I'll have to have something after our meeting so that it's a little bit more healthy than just yogurt. Okay, I think that's everyone logged in that's going to log in. That's good. I don't see any more people signing in. So my name is Chris. If you forget my name, it's on the bottom of the screen. Is it this way? Somewhere on the bottom of the screen. And we're going to do a watercolor painting I mentioned. Some beetles. Are they water beetles? Could be. Are they regular beetles? Also could be. Nice and colorful. They look complicated, but they're really simple. We'll break it down into easy steps. Easy steps. So I will show you the supplies that we're going to need. So this is a watercolor paper sketchbook, but you can have your watercolor paper loose, just like a sheet of watercolor paper. I'll show you my watercolors. They're in this little case. Mine has quite a few colors. Maybe your set doesn't have as many colors as I do, and that's okay. You can mix colors together. So say I'm using what I would call a turquoise or a blue-green color, and you don't have that exact color, you could mix. You can mix blue and green together. I like to mix it in my lid. If you don't have like a lid like that, you can mix 2 colors together on like a plate or like a styrofoam container, maybe in the garbage, a little bowl, like a shallow bowl. But I'll be mixing some colors up in the lid area. So that's my watercolor palette. Let's put it here. You could do this whole painting with just like one paintbrush if you only have like one paintbrush at your house. But mine has a bit of a pointy tip. So if you have any, where's a good angle? You can see the pointy tip. If you have any paintbrushes that have a pointy tip, that's the best kind of paintbrush for this kind of painting. But it's okay if you don't have any like that. Maybe it's more of a flat paintbrush, but maybe like 1 or 2 paintbrushes. So I've got this little small one and this kind of medium one. You see those? The bad glare behind me. So that's what I'm going to use, but really I could do the whole thing with just like this one. 1 or 2 paintbrushes. Because we're using watercolors, I have my little jar of water to rinse my brush out and a little piece of paper towel or a rag to dry my paintbrush off. Before we do the painting, we're going to draw the Beetles. So I have a pencil and I have an eraser. Any kind of pencil and eraser. Mine's a mechanical pencil where like the lead kind of reloads itself instead of sharpening your pencil all the time. That's my favorite kind of pencil. And then my eraser is like a squishy eraser, but a white eraser, a pink eraser would be okay. Mine's just kind of a squishy blob. I love these kinds. They're fun to play with. Pencil and eraser. Couple of optional supplies. If you have it around, if you want to use it, a ruler. The only reason I have the ruler is so that I can divide my page into 4 sections, but that's not necessary. If you don't want to divide your page into 4 sections, that's okay. You don't need a ruler. And then another optional supply, I have a black marker or a Sharpie, you might call it. Instead of doing the black lines with my paint, if you prefer to do your black lines with a Sharpie or a black marker, even a black pencil crayon instead of paint, that's a good idea. It's maybe a little bit more tidier, maybe a little easier on your hand than doing it with paint. So you can have this as an option. I'm going to be demonstrating using paint. So you'll see me do it with paint, but just note in marker or pencil crayon, that kind of thing. So I think that's all the supplies that I have. If you want to have like an apron, put on an apron. If you want to have like a tablecloth to protect the surface of your table from paint splashes, you can do that. Or even put down just like an old towel or a piece of newspaper to protect your table. I'm going to switch my camera view so you can see what I'm doing. There we go. That's a better view. So probably yesterday and the day before that, you had Karen, and Karen taught you some other things, but she probably had this kind of a view for you. All right. We're making 4 Beetles today. Get out your pencil and your eraser. We're going to draw our Beetles first, and we're going to draw lightly. If you press really hard with your pencil, you're going to have very dark, thick lines, and that's okay. But if you want to develop your skills a little bit more, draw lightly so that in your final painting, you don't see a lot of very dark pencil lines. So if you wanted to, with your ruler, you can divide your page into 4 sections so that each bug, each beetle has its own section, but that's okay if you don't want to do that. I'm not going to do that. I can kind of guess where I want each little beetle without needing the ruler. Let's put that over there. Okay, everyone has their pencils and their erasers. So I'm going to start with this beetle here up at the top left, but if you wanted to mix up the order of the beetles, you definitely can. So if you want to start drawing this one, but draw him down here, you can. Also the colors, all the colors you see, you can change them to whatever colors you want. So this one's purple, blue, and green. If you want this to be pink, yellow, and orange instead, you can do that. You can do anything you want because this is your art, this is your world. All right, this guy has an sort of a circular, maybe an oval shaped body. And then there's a little, I'm going to call it a little butt shape at the bottom. So just draw lightly. I'm going to draw a little bit darker so that you can see it, but don't draw as dark as I'm drawing. kind of an oval, kind of maybe a circle shape. And then there's a little butt shape at the bottom. So come up a little bit, that little butt shape. And then I'm going to erase that extra little bit that I don't need. So there is the beetle shape, an oval with a little indentation for his little butt. Okay, there is a section of his armor at the top that's kind of separated from the rest of his body. So I just draw a line, a curvy line across, a curvy line across. So this is a section of his armor. Maybe that's like his shoulder armor. And I'm going to draw a line down the middle to the butt. You didn't think I was going to be talking about butts this morning, did you? There's his body shape. We're going to add a little head, this kind of arching shape above his shoulder armor here, a little arch. Your head could be bigger than mine or smaller than mine. Any shape, any size. Beetles come in so many different shapes and sizes that even if you draw your beetle a little different than mine, it's probably like a real life beetle. You could probably find that in real life. So there's a little head shape. There's like a little arch shape on the head. Oh, we got one more person joining us. This little arch shape on his head, like this. It's like a little semicircle, like that. And then there's these two lines that come off of it. Little arch, and the lines just come off a little bit onto the shoulder armor area. So that's it for his body. We're going to add his antenna and some legs. So his antenna come out of his head. This is his head. And you can have like a curving antenna or little pieces that make up that curve. So kind of an angle and then straight and then another angle. I like to do my antenna in segments because that's what they are. They're in little segments so they can feel around. So I've got a straight line, and a straight line, making up an antenna. And they don't have to be perfectly exactly the same. Try your best. Even mine aren't perfectly exactly the same. Just try your best. And that's all I expect from you guys. Okay, he's got furry arms. We're not going to draw all the furriness of the arms right now. We'll draw that with our paint or our marker. Furry arms and legs. But we'll just draw the shape of it with the pencil. So when we're fuzzing it up later, we know the shape. So the arm or the leg comes out of the body right where the shoulder armor line meets the body. Curving out and up and maybe out a little bit like that. Yeah, just like a cool curving shape. It's kind of a bad glare on my light source there. Here's my arms. And remember, you guys are drawing lightly. Draw lightly so you have very little pencil showing in the final painting. Here's his little arms. And his little back, little swimmer legs. Somewhere along this curvy part, just come out and down. Out and down. Make them sort of the same shape, sort of the same angle, sort of the same length as best you can. And that's all we need to draw for this guy. He's all done. I mentioned we're going to add the furriness to the legs when we have our paint. So we don't need to draw the individual strokes right now. So that's the first one. Take a few seconds if you need to erase something, adjust something. If your lines are very dark, gently erase them so they're lighter. But yeah, I'm pretty happy with the shape of this guy. Guy or gal. This could be a gal beetle. Okay, let's look at this guy a little closer. He's fun. So he has a different shaped head and body shape. Head, abdomen, thorax, parts of a bug. His thorax, his butt area, is kind of shaped like, what would you call that? The end of a shovel, you know, you're shoveling, and this part sort of looks like the metal part of the shovel, right? That's what it reminds me of. And then he's got this very cool upper body, meaty shoulders on this guy. We're going to draw him together. So I'm going to draw mine here, but if you wanted to mix it up, put it in a different place, you can. You can do anything you want. So again, sort of like a shovel, the end of a shovel shape. And I'm going to leave some room up here for his upper body. So this is the lower body. Maybe across like that. Down the sides, and then nice pointed tip of that shovel shape. Or like a shield. Sort of like a shield or a shovel shape for this lower body. Something like that. Make yours nice and light. A man says the bottom legs look like half a heart. Aww. That's a good analogy. So we have our shield or shovel-shaped lower body. And then the upper body kind of comes up and out. Two curving shapes. And then kind of a rounded shape like that. Kind of like a mushroom shape, something like that. And then on that is the head, so just kind of like a roundish head, maybe oval. Little head on top. And he's got these great pinchers, like little jaws to grab onto little bugs. So little, I would call that like a crescent moon shape. Little crescent moon pinchers on his head. Try to make them sort of the same, but it's okay if they're a little bit different from each other. Little pinchers. Okay, so we've got antennas. This guy's got 6 legs. So his antennas are going to sprout out near his pinchers. Right near his pinchers is where the antennas are going to sprout out. And again, it could be different little sections. So it could be like a little section going this way, and then it bends a little bit, and then it goes this way. So 1, 2, 3. I've got 3 lines to make that antenna. 1, 2, 3. Here's some antennas. They don't have to be in the exact same position as mine, because he would be moving his antennas all over the place. Those are antennas. And then he's got So if we call these shoulders, this might be his shoulder. Some arms coming out of the shoulder area. So I've got a little stick, one stick. Maybe this one's going up and this stick's going a little bit out. 1, 2, 3. Little arms. If you want them in different positions, the arms could be in different positions. And then he's got another set of, we'll call it legs or arms, coming from sort of the top of the shield area. These ones are kind of curving down and away. This, here's another little segment coming out. Curving it down. Little segment, another little segment. First could be longer or shorter. Where can I put this? That's too much light. Oh, is that a little better? If I put the light a little bit away, can you see the pencil a little bit better, I think? Yeah, I think so, yeah. I'll just aim the light away for a bit. Sometimes it's too bright. It's good to have good lighting, but not when it's bleaching out my page. And then these ones are some furry legs. Yeah, we have a variety of legs. We have the skinny stick legs and then the fuzzy legs like these guys. Different legs. This guy has some crazy legs. Yeah, kind of curving, sort of like a heart, coming around like this. And then these little feet. So we'll just draw the shape, but not the actual fuzzies. Down, and then a little foot going out. Pardon me. I've got my Hercules mug today. Well, it's really Hades mug. One of my faves. Okay, so we've got some legs. Try to make them sort of the same. You know, this one might be a little bit shorter than that one. I'm not too worried. One more little bit of detail on this guy. So right here, at the top part of the shield or shovel, it comes down to a little point here. And then we could maybe draw a line down the middle or not. Right here, where his waist might be. If Bugs had a waist, comes down to a little point. Like that. And then I'm going to erase that extra little line here. So in the end, this shape actually looks quite like a heart. Doesn't that sort of look like a squared off heart a little bit? I think so. Yeah, and if you want, you can have a line sort of down the middle, but that's not always necessary. There you go, 2 bugs, 2 beetles. Let's look at this one. Nice big oval. I would make this oval bigger than the oval we made before. Make a nice big one. Tiny little head, 6 legs. So I'm looking at this oval here. I want to make an even bigger oval down here. And you're drawing lightly. I'm drawing a little bit darker. There's a nice oval shape. Nice big one. And his little tushy ends in a little point here. So we're going to add a little pointy bit to the bottom of our oval. There we we go, something like that. And then I'll just erase that extra little bit of the oval that I don't need. So we're left with a pointed end oval. A little bitty head, a teeny tiny little head is on the top of the oval. Make it small. Mine's real small. Yours could be slightly bigger than that. So it's a little harder to see because it's like there's a lot of black going on here, but there is a shape here, sort of like this guy has a shoulder armor section. This guy also has that, which is hard to see, but I'll draw it here and you'll see it a little better. A little shape up here. Comes down to a point and then back up. So two curving shapes. As kind of like his shoulder armor area. There is a line going down the middle, so connect that little pointy point all the way down to the bottom pointy point. Nice and light. The body looks like a leaf, says Iman. Yes, like a leaf. Even more so that we have a line down here. I really like those bugs that look like leaves and like stick bugs. Bugs that use like natural things to camouflage. They're so cool. There's our body. Let's add 6 legs and 2 antennae. So these antennae are just straight on this one. Straight with a little kind of dabby end, but we'll just draw the straight part right now. We can dab the end with our paint. 2 nice straight antennae. I bet all you kids out there don't even remember when televisions had antennas on them. I remember that. It'd be tough to find a television with antennas on it today. And then I've got little baby legs. His like arms are little tiny. This one kind of looks like the letter Z. Z going this way, and then a backwards Z going that way, or like an S, you could call that. So right up near the front of his body, a Z, a weird Z, or Z, Z if there's any Americans joining us today. Legs, little ones that kind of zigzag. Oh, cute arms. And then he's got some furry legs too. He's got this set of furry legs and this set of furry legs. They probably help him swim in the water. So the first set is sort of midway down the body. Maybe a little bit higher than midway. Curving out. Gentle curve. Something like that. So two swimmer legs. And then these ones are kind of remind me of these ones down here. A bit bigger curve and down. Oh, losing my lead. One, two, three, 6 legs. And that's really all we need to draw for that guy. Nice big beetle. And now our final beetle. I don't know enough about beetles to know what kind of beetle this is. He's kind of cool. Got like a sword head, like a sword for a nose almost. Look at that. He's cool looking. Very cool. So he's got a smaller body, sort of like this when we started out with this smaller body here. We'll add a head and that sword. Leave yourself enough room for the head and the sword area here. So when you're starting your body, maybe start your body a little lower, right around here, so that we have enough room for the rest of them. Let's see, so sort of like a round shape, maybe slightly oval shape. But definitely smaller than, like, say, this one. We made a really big oval. This one's smaller. Gross. That's funny. Jay says, gross. I think beetles are fascinating. I wouldn't want them crawling on me, but I like to look at them. All right, so there's our smaller body. We'll add a head, a smaller head. We need to leave room for that sword nose. Kind of a round head. There's my head. Okay, and then this, yeah, it really looks like a sword to me. So that's why I keep calling it a sword. So straight up. And then the tip gets real pointy. Kind of looks like a pencil, maybe. Something like that. And there's this like crossbar piece. I'm going to just draw a line across it, across the base of the sword, a little line with little, I'm going to assume they're little eyeballs on either side of this little line. So I made a little cross line with little dots. I maybe think those are eyes. Okay, so we've got the sword. He's got like 4, I want to call them antlers. I'm not sure what these things are, but I feel like they're sort of like antlers. Maybe he would use them to fight someone. Coming out of his head. And they're curvy, very curvy. Mine are pretty thin. But if yours are a little thicker, that's fine. You'd probably fight someone better with thicker antlers. So there's 2. They're, yeah, curvy, like very skinny crescent moons. Do another set. Curvy antler things. Make them sort of the same size and shape on both sides. Just do your best. And yeah, a little bit more on this guy, arms and legs. I did put a line kind of up the middle. And he also has sort of like a butt shape, similar to this, how it kind of curves. Make that curvy shape. And then check out these arms, very skinny arms with these little marks on them. Maybe that helps him to swim or like stay on top of the water or something. But I'm just gonna draw like the line of the arm. I won't draw those little tick marks yet. I'll draw that with my actual paintbrush. So here's some shoulders coming out, and these are really straight and long arms. Little shoulder, straight long arm. Make them the same length. And then his legs, it's like he has like a little thigh and then a long calf area. That would be like his knee, maybe. Little knee. So his legs coming like straight out and then down in little sections. We got a section, and a little foot section. Straight out, section, little foot section. There we go. Okay, I'll leave this like this for a couple minutes. You can adjust, erase anything you want to erase or adjust, tidy up. If you have any very, very dark lines, just lightly erase them. All of mine are kind of dark because I had to show you guys on the camera. So I might just lightly erase my own lines here. I'll still be able to see them. Yeah, if something looks a little wonky, doesn't quite match, you know, the two antennas match, the legs match each other. I'm just lightening my lines. There we go. It's gonna look great. Now remember what I said about the color choices. So if I'm using blues and greens and purples, and you're feeling in the mood for orange and pink instead, you can definitely change it up, do whatever you like. So we're gonna put all the colors on first, and we'll go beetle by beetle doing all the colors. Then we'll do all the black details all at once afterwards. Okay, so let's see if I can't get my paint closer so you can see the colors I'm grabbing. Here's my water, paper towel. Yeah, this is the brush I'm going to use that has kind of a pointy tip. But if you only have, say, flat brushes, that's okay. I know you can do a good job using whatever brushes you have with you today. Let's have a little closer look here. Okay, so if you've never painted with watercolors before, they're very loose. We say loose, and we just mean messy. So if colors accidentally blend into each other, that's okay. If, you know, splashes and drips happen where you weren't meaning to have splashes and drips, that's okay too. It's kind of like a messy, blobby, patchy look, and that's kind of on purpose. So you don't have to worry about exactly getting a blue blob that looks exactly like my blue blob here, because it's just me literally just like jabbing and dabbing with my paintbrush. So it's very random. So messiness is good. I like that. So I'll show you like kind of where I'm putting my colors. So like I'll have a little bit darker red here. a little bit lighter red here. But if you don't want to have your dark red exactly where I have my dark red, that's okay. You can put it anywhere you want. I'm just guiding you, showing you how, but you make all the decisions of where you want things to actually be. It's loads of fun. All right, so you get your brush wet. Get your brush wet. So I'm going to start on this beetle here, and I'm going to start with some lovely blue. So I've got lots of blues to choose from on mine. If you only have like one blue in your set, then that's the blue you're going to use. I'm going to choose this blue today. If you want to know the color choice names I'm using, I've got this little handy dandy chart. So the blue I'm using is called Fresh Blue. Doesn't that sound wonderful? So I have my wet brush and I'm kind of swirling it around. And then I'm going to bring my wet brush with some paint on it over to this section. And I'm going to get more water. And I'm mixing paint and water together. Paint and water together. Yeah, it's like a little puddle, a little blue puddle that I've made. So I'm going to dip from my blue puddle onto this guy here. So I've got a little bit of blue on that weird little shape on his head. There's some blue, just a messy blob of blue. There's blue all along his butt. His butt is blue. So I can put some blue along like this. And then when you go get more paint, I get it from my blue puddle. That's where I get my paint from my blue puddle, not from this little square shape. Okay, and then I'm gonna make some like flicky lines going up. Give them some more texture. There's some blue on his butt. All along his armor here, I'm gonna make a little bit of blue, but I'm gonna flick it a little bit down. So like some lines going down this time. Some areas are gonna be darker. Some areas are gonna end up being lighter. All of it is good. It's all good. There's some blue going down. Okay, get some more blue. Now this is the part some people struggle with, being random and loose and blobby. So maybe I want to do some blue blobs over here randomly. Maybe I want to do some blue blobs right here. Wherever you feel like it. It could be really dark, it could be light blue. If you add more water, it's lighter. Just here and there, here and there. And that's all I'm going to do for my blue, because I'm going to have green, I'm going to have purple. So we need to leave some space for those. So that's what I have so far. Yours could be different than mine. I'm thinking purple next. I like the purple. Here I've got several purples to choose from. Today I'm going to choose my deep violet purple. So I wash out my brush. I grab some from the little square. And then I bring it over to my mixing area. And I can add some more water, add some more paint. So here's my purple puddle. That's where I'm going to grab my paint from. Purple puddle. So there's a little bit of purple, let's see, along his kind of shoulder armor here. A little bit of blobby, messy purple. And these colors will dry lighter. They'll dry lighter than what they look like here. Messy purple blobs near his butt. Blob it around. Getting purple from my purple puddle, maybe a messy purple blob near his arm. And sometimes when you have like wet blue here and wet purple here and they touch each other, they might blend into each other and touch and move around. That's okay. We like that. Maybe some purple blobs over here. Anywhere. You can have purple touching blue, you can have purple overlapping blue. I think that's all I'm going to do for my purple. So I've got a good amount of purple here and there. Some blue and purple are mixing there. That looks good. We need to do green, so I'm leaving some room for green here and there. Green, so I'm probably going to use emerald green. But if you have a different choice of green, maybe you want to use a kind of a lime green or sap green if you have that. Emerald, my emerald's right here. Get your brush wet, rub the paint, bring it over here. Rub it, add some more water, rub some more paint. Here's my green puddle. Green puddle. In this body area, I'm going to add some green stripies. So if your blue is still a little bit wet and it's blending with some of your green, that's okay. We like blue and green mixing. I'm doing some messy stripies on his body. There's some white gaps. There's some parts where green and blue are overlapping. You can even go back to your blue puddle. Grab a little blue from your blue puddle, and then you can add some blue stripies in amongst the green. Let them blend and bleed into each other. See what kind of cool shapes it'll make when it dries. And then I'm going to get a little green from my green puddle and just blob some green around. Wherever. Green and purple mixing is fine. Green and blue mixing is fine. That looks good. Yeah, so just this area kind of around the beetle is where all those colors are. And if it goes a little bit like towards another beetle, that's okay. That's all right. So these are going to dry and they'll end up looking a lot lighter than this. You'll see. I'm going to add, what's the last color? I'm going to add a tiny bit of yellow actually. Can you even see it? It's a little bit of yellow here and here, sort of by his shoulder area. I've got little tiny bits of yellow. So hard to see. But let's say as you were painting, you already put a different color there. That's all right. Just put some yellow somewhere. On his face, maybe, on his shoulders. A little couple dots of yellow somewhere. Ooh, mine looks like green because I got a little bit of blue on it. That's kind of cool. Mine's not really yellow, it's kind of a greeny yellow, but I'm not mad at it. I kind of like that. There, that finishes off the painting for this guy. That was pretty simple. That was pretty simple. So let that dry. Don't put your hand on it as we're painting over here. We don't want that. All right, I'll give you another minute if you're still adding little blobs here and there. Yeah, it's kind of tough to like see the beetle now that there's all these blobs around, but we'll add black paint, we'll add black marker to help define our beetle again. Look at this guy. So we've got yellow, orange, a little bit of emerald green, maybe a little red, but really any colors that you feel would look good. You can do them. I'm gonna start with, I'll start with yellow. And yellow over here. Make a little, whoop. Well, now some blue got into my yellow puddle. I'm gonna make a new yellow puddle. There we go. There's some yellow. So I've got some yellow on his body here. I've got some yellow on his body over here, but I'm just going to blob it around. Little blobs and dabs. And I've got some yellow kind of in the background, just kind of random blobs in the background. That's really all the yellow I have on mine. But you can add it anywhere else. If you want to add some up here, sure. If you want to add some down here, little blobs, absolutely. That looks good. Okay, I'm going to go with orange next, maybe. I've got quite a few oranges to choose from. Let's say you have a set of paint and you don't have any orange. That would be weird, but it could happen. Remember, red plus yellow makes orange. So if I just wanted to make my own orange, I've got my yellow puddle here. I can just add a little red to it. Mix it. And I've made my own orange. It's sometimes fun to make your own colors. All right, so on this guy, I've got orange. And on this part of his abdomen, no, his thorax. Where else? Maybe a little bit over here. Random blobs, some blobs out in the background. Blob, blob, blob. You can let the orange touch the yellow, like on purpose, and then they can blend together a little bit. There, I think that's a good amount of orange for me. Nice and bright. My water's starting to look like Kool-Aid. All right, I'm thinking I'll do my red next. So any kind of red, I've got quite a few reds. Grab a little red, bring it to my mixing area. Add some more water. Make a red puddle. Here's my red puddle. And then, let's see, kind of near his rear end, I've got some red blobs. You can let some of the red touch some of the orange. Red can touch the yellow a little bit. Where else do I want some red? Maybe over here, just because. Yeah, so some of my orange is spreading into my yellow, and I'm not mad at it. It's going to make a cool effect. Okay, there's some red. And then my last color is going to be emerald green. So the same green I was just using over here, I'll just use it again because I've got my puddle already made. I could just use some of that. Emerald green. So he's got green on his like head and kind of shoulder area. But then some of it gets covered up with some black. Blob it around. Blah, blah, blah. You can leave some white, little white areas still showing is fine. Let's put some green blobs anywhere here. Green can blend into yellow, green can blend into orange. Not a problem. I've got a little green near his butt. A little green there. Yeah, it's gonna blend into other colors, that's fine. Here it's starting to bleed into the red. Not a problem. And a little green in the background somewhere. Wherever you want, blob it around. That's looking good. I'm happy with that. Yeah, so it doesn't really look like a beetle right now, but the black is what ties it all together. Sewer water. Yeah. Jay says that their water looks like sewer water. That's a good point. Mine too. Yeah, even as I look at this one, it's already starting to dry. This one's still very wet, but this one, I can touch certain areas because it's already dry. Awesome. All right, this one, pretty simple. Red and black. Just red, just black. The gray areas you see is just really watered down black. Really watered down black. I'm gonna start with my red. So I still have here's my red puddle from doing some red on this guy. So I'll just use that. Red puddle. Add some water. Okay, so this section of him has some red blobs. I'm not going onto his shoulder armor yet. So blob on some red here. Blob, blob, blob. Yeah. Sometimes there's little white gaps that are okay. Blobby shapes are okay. And then we've got some red on this side of him, the right side of him. Blob it up. Sometimes I just dip in the water, rinse off my brush. So I've got a bunch of red here, and then my brush just has water. But if I dab that water around, some of the red flows into it and makes cool, like light red shapes. So by just getting some water on my brush, you can just kind of lightly dab some water, and the red just kind of travels into the water. So you'll have some darker red sides and then lighter red here and there. So try that. Try just getting water on the brush, just a clean, empty brush. Dab some water next to your red, and it'll flow. It'll flow. Emily says that their water is brown. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. All these colors mixed together is going to make some brown. Okay, and then red blobs just kind of here and there around the body, wherever you feel like, near the antenna, near the legs. Red blobs. It's just kind of fun to make these blobby shapes. And you never know what they'll look like when they dry. Will they be dark? Will they be light? Are they going to spread weirdly? Yeah, just some red blobbed here and there. That's not bad. Look, that's a good amount for me. But you be the judge of how much red blobs you want around yours, because it's your painting. Okay, I'm going to let the red dry a little bit before we do the black and the gray, because we wouldn't want them blending into each other too much, because then we just have like grayish red. We want vibrant red. So I'm going to leave that one be for now. Okay, this guy, sword head, sword nose. I'm sure he has an actual name. Okay, so I've got a series of like greens, yellows, blues. Those colors kind of go nicely together, blue, green, and yellow. If you want to do oranges and reds and yellows together, that would look very sharp as well. I'm going to start with yellow. We'll start with yellow. I kind of lost my yellow puddle. I lost my yellow puddle on my palette. I need to clear a space to make a yellow puddle, because I turned my yellow into orange as a demonstration. Yellow puddle. Get some water. There we go. I've got some yellow on his body right around here. I've got some yellow over here randomly. I've got yellow in the up here. Most of his body's going to be blue and green, so the yellow's kind of in the background. There we go. That's enough yellow. Here and there, anywhere. I'm going to do green next. Green, I've got several greens to pick from here. Like a sap green. You can make your own green with yellow and blue. Lime green. Where am I going to put it? So there's some green over here. Dab that around. Any shapes, any dabs you want to do. His sword, I've got his sword mostly green. And also his antlers are mostly green too. And his head. He's got some green on his head. But again, any colors anywhere if you want to do some blue antlers, some yellow antlers. And some blobs. Blob the background. That looks pretty good. Good amount of green. And then any blue. Any blue. I'm going to use that same blue I was using for my first blue. Fresh blue. There's some blue. Dab it around. I've got some on his head. He's got a little blue on the head. And if some of the blue, goes into the green, that's actually cool. We like when colors blend and bleed and make a whole new color. So after we're done this last color, this blue, we're going to take a little break because I'm sure you guys might have ants in your pants from sitting still for 1 hour. Can you believe it's already been an hour? You guys are doing so well. So patient, so attentive. All right, I think that's a good amount of blue for me. Anywhere else I want some blue blobs? Oh, pretty good. Yeah, it's already been an hour. Can you believe that? Look at how much we got done in 1 hour. That's amazing. Amazing. So we're going to take a little break. Shake out your hands. Shake out your arms. I can change my video here. Shake out your hands. Shake out your arms. Shake out your body. Take a little break. You can get up. You can stretch a little bit. You can touch your toes. Do some of these. Get your blood going again. Maybe your legs are asleep. If your legs are asleep, do a little run. You need to get a drink. You need to have a bathroom break. Go do that. Get the blood going again. This is Max. Can you see my cat? Hi, Maxie. Yeah, he knows his name. You know have your name. That's funny. Max is 9 years old. All right, let's, if you want to take a bathroom break, go do that now. Grab a drink or a snack if you want. We will resume painting in like, let's do like 4 or 5 minutes. I'm gonna get some water for myself. Been talking for an hour straight. Well, Max is having a little bath. Bath time for Max. Oh, does anyone have any like pets nearby that you can show me your pet? I love seeing pets. Let's see if anyone has a nearby pet. Eman says Max is so cute.
I have one.
Okay, let me see. Is this Gavin?
Yep.
Is that Gavin? Okay. Well, what kind of pet do you have, Gavin?
Cat.
A cat. I love cats. And what's your cat's name?
Murphy.
Murphy. I love that.
For sure.
Oh, gonna see Murphy. I'll spotlight your video so we can see Murphy. Wow, what a nice fluffy one. Oh, he's loving that sunshine.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love that.
That's his favorite spot.
20 favorite spot. Yeah, makes sense. Do you
My
ever
mom says he's 20.
20 years old? Wow. He deserves a nap.
No, he like takes a nap every time and he stays up all night. Yes, 3 naps.
Here's
3.
Bailey. Here's another cat. Bailey. Bailey. Yeah, he doesn't know his name. Oh, there we go. There's Bailey. Bailey, are you 7 years old? I think he's only 7. Yeah. Eman says that they have pet fish. I love fish. We've got some fish too. Anyone else have any pets? Dogs. I love seeing dogs. Someone once showed me a guinea pig. They held up their guinea pig to the camera. It was so cute. Well, thanks, Gavin, for sharing your cat with us. That was awesome. Jay says 2 dogs and 2 fish. Busy household, 2 dogs. Awesome. Did you guys grab a little snack? Get yourself a little granola bar or something. Keep your energy up. I like seeing all your smiling faces. Yeah, I really like when people join me like on video instead of just like a blank screen with your name on it. I just like seeing your faces and maybe kind of where you're at, your kitchen or your living room. Does anyone have some of your art from yesterday or the day before, like handy, like your elephant or your painted rocks? Anyone have that handy? Faith had her hand up. I wouldn't mind seeing it. I'm going to highlight you, Faith. Wow. I love all the texture in his wrinkles and that rainbow splash looks amazing. Karen's a really good teacher, so I'm not surprised that you guys did a really good job. Good job, Faith. Oh, I see Gwen. Gwen had a hand up over there, so let's see. I'm gonna highlight you here. Look at those fruits. I see strawberry, I see orange, I see, is that maybe a kiwi? It looks like a kiwi. I love it. And then maybe like a watermelon, I think I see. Those look great. I'm impressed you got rocks that are sort of shaped like, you know, like the actual fruit. I really like that. Good job. Oh, I see at Colin and Allie's house. Let's highlight them. Yes, hi, you guys are, oh, I love that kiwi. I just want to eat it up. Delicious. And then is that a little watermelon? Looks so juicy. A little orange slice. I love those. Good job, you guys. Okay, we'll show one more. Jay's got their hand up there. But we got to get painting again. Ooh, what a nice rainbow splash elephant. That looks amazing. You guys did so good. Oh, and Thea. Oh, I gotta show Thea's too. Everyone's just, oh, look at your art. I'm so proud of you guys. That's amazing. Okay. That looks great at Gavin's house too. Okay, let's get back to the painting we're actually doing. All right, I'm gonna change my view here again. There we go. All right, we're gonna do all of the black details. So you can use a black marker, a black pen, a black pencil crayon if you want. I'm gonna use black paint because that's what we're doing, watercolor paint. But as an option, if you feel more comfortable with a marker, do it. Do it. So we're going to start up at the top here because this one's the most dry, right? This one's still a little wet, but by the time we finish this one will be more dry. So it'll be easier. So black, just plain old black, plain old black. Add some water to the black. So this is where the pointy tip is very handy to make thinner lines, So this is what we're going for. So pretty much I'm outlining everything first. So all your pencil lines that you have, outline those all with thin lines. And it's okay if some of your lines are a little bit wiggly, thick areas, thin areas, that's all okay. It just gives it more character. All of your pencil lines, go over them with black paint, black marker, black pen. But then we'll also add other black lines for details, especially on those furry legs. I don't suppose it's actual fur because these are beetles. They're not mammals. So when I say fur, I don't mean actual fur. Got spiky texture, more likely. And for the antennas and the legs, if there's like different sections, I paint a little line and then I lift up my brush and then I paint another little line so that, you know, the antenna might not be fully connected. It's like a little line, a little gap, a little line, a little gap. That's okay. That's okay if there's little gaps for the antennas or for any arms or legs. Okay, so I've gone around all my pencil for the body. Now for the legs, to make them a little bit furry, spiky, I just do short little brush strokes. And they kind of go off to the left and to the right of the pencil line I made to give it a spiky look. I'll bring it a little closer. So little brush strokes all attached together to give me a spiky looking arm. Yeah, that probably helps him like swim. And if you want to, like, sometimes I like to turn my page, turn it so that your hand is more comfortable. So you might sometimes look at my page and it's like completely sideways or upside down. That's just me trying to have my arm as comfortable as I can to make these little marks. Yeah, so I try to keep my spiky arms the same on both sides. My spiky legs, I try to make them the same as best you can. the legs are a little thicker, fatter. Yeah, so I've got a little bit heavier brush strokes here than the arms, let's say. So tomorrow, Thursday, will be the last day of the camp, the nature camp. And I'll be here with you again tomorrow. We're going to paint turtles. I'm so excited. Turtles on a log. I don't know if you've seen the picture of it. I can show it to you before we're done here today. Okay, I've got legs, and I'm just going to add, let's see this guy. I made little patches near the side of his head with some black. Maybe those are kind of like eyes. I made little lines of black to show maybe a bit of shading on this guy. Just add other little details. So right below that shoulder armor area, right below that, some little lines as maybe like shading. Make little blobs on the side of his head as maybe those are eyes, or just markings. Maybe a little black near his butt. Some more shading. Something like that. Smudgy down here. There we go. There, so I'm quite happy with how this first little beetle guy turned out. He's got nice thin little antennas, those spiky swimmer legs. Yeah, and now that we have the black, it's tidier. It looks like a beetle, where before, like this guy, it just looks like a mess of blobby blobs. Yeah, see the difference? Like, what is that? Versus, oh, a beetle. How wonderful. All right, so same thing on this beetle. Whenever you're ready with going to the next beetle, just go to the next beetle. Same steps, we outline those pencil lines again. Just go over all your pencil lines with nice black lines. It's okay if they're thick or thin or a little wiggly. Everyone has a different style. That shovel shape, that shovel butt beetle. Maybe your paint has covered up your pencil lines and you can't see them anymore. Just make it up. Just think about where the pencil lines might have been. Whew, pardon me. Yeah, thin antennas in different sections. So I'll make a line, another line, another line. If there's little gaps in the antennas or in the legs, that's okay. And his back legs are all fuzzified. Little brush strokes all the way along. And then he has that little foot. You can draw in a little foot on him. Just a skinny little foot. I bet some of you guys are getting even ahead of me. Maybe you're already working on your next beetle. Trying to make my two legs sort of the same as each other. So I've got everything outlined that I want outlined, but this guy has a bit of black paint on his head, upper body, a little bit of black paint near his butt. And I'm going to do that. I'm going to get some water on my brush. On his butt, maybe even on some of the colors themselves, put a little black paint. And then I'm going to wash out my brush. So now my brush just has some water on it. And I can kind of make the black a little bit like grayish, kind of blobby. Here's some, I'm going to put a little bit of this grayish black around here. So it does go on top of some of the colors, that's all right. And then some grayish black on his like shoulder area, grayish black. Even just having a little water on your brush and then using some of the black paint from your black lines, because it's not fully dry yet. And even a little on the head. So there's water on my brush. If I just kind of dabble the wet brush near my black lines, it kind of brings a little of that black paint onto the head a little bit. And that's kind of what I want. Just dabbling, dab, 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 little tick marks, little dabs. Yeah, so some of your colors does get a little bit covered up, but it's still pretty bright. Yeah, grayish black here and there. I think it softens it a little bit. That's pretty good. There, so those two are done. I'll give you another minute if you're still tweaking these two, and then we'll move down here. Can't wait to see all your beetles and how colorful they are. can always come back a little later today, even after we're done, and add little colors here and there if you wanted to. Okay, so we're going to move down here to my red and black beetle. So far we only have the red on it. Let's do all the black outlining, and then we'll add some of those gray patches that we haven't got yet. So I'm going to go with the full strength black, but then later we'll water it down and make some gray. Okay, so yeah, outline all your body parts, your legs, your head with your thin lines. Go right on top of all those pencil lines. Hide the pencil lines as best you can. The straight antenna, it's just a straight line, and then little dabs of black paint on the top. Little dabs near the top of his antenna. There's some little dabs. And then he's got, yeah, fuzzy legs here and fuzzy legs here. Spiky legs. Give it some texture. Big spiky legs on the back end. That's pretty good. I'm going to outline his little shoulder armor section. And there's kind of a line down the middle. Okay, so that's kind of that's all the pencil lines covered up. But there are some areas of black. So again, near kind of like the butt, near the butt, that pointy butt is some black dabs and blobs. Some black down, dab, and blob away. You could go on top of some of your red too. That's fine. Here a little bit, some dabby blobs. There's a little bit of grayish, blackish kind of near the middle. Add more water to your brush, and then you can make like grayish black, because there's still some paint in my bristles, but then I get some more water and then dab away, and it's like grayish black. So even a little on the side here. And then his little shoulder area and his head is kind of grayish black. So lighter black, a little more water in your bristles. His head and his shoulder area is grayish. I'm going to dab some grayish around. So lots of water, tiny bit of paint in your bristles. Mostly I'm just dipping into my water and then kind of using whatever paint is still in my bristles. Like that, I can even grab a little from there, dab it around. Yeah, but it's mostly gray. It's not very, very dark dabs around. You could even, remember how our paints dry lighter than when we first put them down? So all my red kind of looks pinkish now. I could even go back, grab a little red from my red puddle, nice rich red, and dab some of that on some of those areas that went a little pinkish. So now we have nice red, like vivid red. And a second layer of red, even some in the dabs and dots. You could re-add some more red. I will add a little bit more black, some black near his head in a moment. Yeah, there's some more like red. Because it kind of faded. It always does. Back to my regular black near kind of his head and shoulder area. I'll do some more dabs of black. And then maybe a few dabs of black amongst my gray, but not too much. Still want the focus to be my beetle. That looks pretty good. Yeah, if some black and red have like combined, bled into each other, that's okay. Oh, who was that? Did you have a question? Who was that? Maybe not. All right, so that beetle's looking pretty good. Some nice dark blacks, some nice rich reds. Last one. Our sword nose, sword head. All right, so again, I'm going to outline all of my pencil with my black lines. Sword head, that little crossbar section with little dots for eyes. Now the antler parts are a little tricky. Just do your best to outline your antlers. If it's not perfect, don't worry about it. You know, mine aren't perfect. Mine have some thick bits, some gaps. This guy has those crazy arms. So it's a thin line for the arms, but then little tick marks along his arms, which we'll do together here. So first the thin straight arms. And then, yeah, so some of these lines across his arm are a little longer, a couple of shorter ones, longer, a couple of lines that maybe they're like his little fingers. Who knows? Who knows what that part of the beetle is? So I'll make a couple lines across, a couple shorter ones, a longer one, maybe like that's maybe his little thumb. Yeah, very little lines, tiny little lines. You can make up your own pattern. Some legs on him. And he does have a little bit of grayish black on his body. So I'm going to get some water in my brush. There's still quite a bit of black paint in my brush too. And add some dabs of watery black. Even just grabbing a little paint from like the edges helps with that. Little dabs here and there, watery black, even in the head a little bit. A little bit of watery black. Right on top of your colors. Don't worry about the colors underneath. Put a little black on top of them. Oh, I've got a little line. My sword has a little line on the sword. That makes it look more like a sword with a line on it. Yeah, that's pretty good. Little dabs here and there. I like that. That's looking good. There we go. So these ones are already dry at the top. If you wanted to add other little bits of colors here and there, as an example, let's see here. Maybe some of my purple looks a little dull. Grab a little more of your purple that you were using earlier. And you can add darker bits to enhance it a little bit. If you want to stripe some more blue, amongst the green, you can do that. Just little enhancements here and there. Let's look over here. Like this red looks kind of dull. So I might grab more from my red puddle and kind of add some more dabs here and there. Just to like boost it up a little. Or add completely new colors. Like what if I wanted to add some orange to this guy? What if I want to add some purple to this guy? Anything goes here. Anything at all. So take a few minutes to just add little bits here and there of whatever you want. Brighter blue. And you're going to let these dry flat. We're not going to, disturb them. If you lift it up while it's still wet, you might get runs and drips. You don't want that. I might add a little yellow. I'm going to add a little yellow around this guy because I just think maybe one more little color might be cute. But you can decide what you want to do to yours. That's kind of cute. Something that a lot of watercolor art also has is little splashes and little drips. Now, if you're going to attempt to do splashes or drips, make sure that you don't splash and drip everything in the whole area, right? You don't want your mom's table covered in splashes and drips. So I'll show you what I do. It's up to you if you want to add these. So I get watery paint on one of my little paint puddles. I'm going to choose blue here. Get watery paint in your brush bristles. So there's watery paint here. So what if I want a few blue splashes near this beetle? I'm going to hold out my finger like this. And with this hand, I'm going to lightly hit my finger with this brush, lightly. And little splatters go onto my painting. So those tiny little droplets, that's kind of a cool effect that watercolor artists sometimes add. Little flicks. So I'm doing blue here, so I'm done with that. Rinse that out. Only if you want to do this, and only if you're allowed to do this on your table that you're at. I'm going to get some yellow. I'm going to add some yellow around this guy. You can kind of aim where you want to add these little drips by just moving around. Okay, there's some yellow there. What if down here I want a few red drips, splashes? There we go. And then over here, I think I'm going to do green. Watery paint in the brush bristles. And I tap my finger, tap. Yeah. So it's very subtle, but you can see little splashy drips. Just to make it more unique. And I'm going to sign it. So you could put your whole name. You could put just your initials, whatever you feel like signing it. You could put the year, you could put the date. I just put my initials at the bottom. Well, you guys did so well. I'm so proud of how patient you were. I think these are going to look really good. So if your paintings are sort of dry and you want to show me carefully on your camera, but remember there might be some drips that happen because it's wet still. Okay, I'll probably end the recording now and then we can share.